G'day and welcome to this week's video. My name's Robert Gowdy, and over the last couple of weeks I've had a chat to some young self-employed people, and they're going from being employed, they've learnt their trade and they're going out on their own, and there was quite a number of really important topics that it was worthwhile putting together a bit of a video that sort of highlights the 5 important things. There are more things to consider, but what people should be thinking about when they're going from being an employee to a self-employed person. There's a lot to know, and I've just picked on 5 that I think are really important. So if we go to the screen, let's go and look at those 5 areas. The first is, I believe you do need a really good accountant, someone that can help steer you down the path of having the right software. Things have become very, very clever of late, where you can finish your job and you can invoice directly from your phone. Obviously, MYOB I'm sure has this, or definitely Xero does. But having the right accountant to steer you in the right direction about what software you might use, what entity you may trade from, that will give you the most flexibility to distribute income if profitability will go up over time. So a good accountant is absolutely vital. Number 2, invoicing. How and when to get paid. Now, what I've seen in the past, people can be the most brilliant carpenter, the most brilliant mechanic, but if you don't get your invoicing right and have the paperwork behind your work as a tradesperson or whatever the job is that someone looks to do as a self-employed person, if you don't get an invoice out, you won't get paid. So one area to look at, I think I had a chat to a mechanic many years ago where there was cash flow issues, and I suggested that when I should pick my car up, there should be an envelope on the passenger seat, which is the invoice, and that efficiency really creates an acknowledgement from myself, the customer, that this guy did a good job on my car or whatever job it is, and he's efficient and he expects to get paid. So making sure that you have your invoicing, and obviously it can be done over the phone, an email can be sent straight away, and it can be it just shows efficiency and an expectation that I've done my job, I now want to get paid, and that's your job, the customer. For tradespeople that have larger jobs and there's materials involved, the tradesperson can bear a lot of risk as they purchase a lot of the goods that's required to do the job. And this is where, to make sure people are absolutely serious and you get paid properly, is you may ask for 50% upfront before you start the job, and then the remaining at completion of the job. So again, one thing you don't want to be doing as a new business owner or as a new self-employed person is having to make those awkward calls, phone calls to people that aren't paying you. Ask for half the money now and half later on to make sure that you're reducing the risk and the exposure, and cash flow can send people broke, and people not paying bills is a quick way of achieving that. Avoiding debt. One thing that I've seen over the years, that people become self-employed, the bank will say, hey, you can get a chattel mortgage and you can buy a new ute or a new car. That just really smashes cash flow. If you can do your job with your existing equipment, existing car, don't go out and buy something that you don't need in the very short term. As the business becomes really solid, you may choose to do that. If it's something that you need and you can't avoid that, then that's something you have to do when you make that move. But if it's changing a reasonable ute that will do the job for a very flash ute that will still do the same job, try to avoid that, and just avoid debt in general if you can. Understanding, obviously, pricing and understanding your value. Now, I think everyone struggles with this. Understanding your skill and your value, and relating that to your pricing. So people that are good at what they do are valued by people that need work done for them. So you need to make sure that your hourly rate when you're quoting is appropriate to what you do and the demand for your job. Now, I'm not suggesting that as an employee you will receiving $25 per hour, that you get that as an employee. As a self-employed person, there's a whole range of things that you've got to cover off on, other costs, and that's running your own car or whatever it is. But as a skilled worker, is it $80 or is it $100 or $110 per hour? And make sure that you don't need to verbalize that to clients. It's just in your quote. We live in Australia. We are used to paying a lot for goods and services. So understand your value and price accordingly. The worst thing you can do is undercharge. So make sure that you're pricing yourself appropriately. Not undercharging is most important. Of course, you've got to take care of insurance and your own superannuation as a self-employed person. So insurance can be income protection, trauma insurance, life and TPD, and making sure that you're still contributing to superannuation for your own retirement is an absolute must. So I hope that's a help. If you've got any other suggestions or other topics for self-employed people, put in the comments down below and I'll make sure that I'll go back and give you my thoughts on those if they're helpful. Thanks for listening. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. That'd be great, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.